Good evening, Princess. Ah, I did not mean to startle you with my entrance. Hmm. It is quite late, yes. I was returning to my quarters, and as I passed through this wing, I noticed that your assigned guard was standing outside the library door. And I thought, I decided to check on you. It has been some time since we last truly spoke outside of pleasantries. My literary collection. Do you find it to your liking? Much of it was bequeathed to me by my father, specifically the tomes regarding the histories of the realms. But I used to be quite an avid reader of fiction. My favorite serials were the mysteries written by, in my opinion, the Autumn Realm's most prolific author. Perhaps you have heard of them in your court. My peers in my youth did not share my fondness for these stories, but maybe you might. They are around here somewhere. I recommend them if you are looking to whet an appetite for tales that leave you guessing at every turn. We could even discuss them together, if you wish. Although perhaps you are more like my father, inclined to regaling of the past rather than original prose. I did not think one of the summer court would enjoy a chronology on key figures of the winter realm throughout the ages. But I suppose it makes sense. After all, you will soon be my queen. Of course, you would wish to know more of the histories of your new home. Well, I do not wish to interrupt you further. I intruded on you most abruptly, and your silence makes it quite clear that you wish to be alone with your reading. Carry on as you were. I will take my leave. You're quite sure? I permit you to be truthful. You are under no obligations to let me encroach upon your personal time. All right. Then I will stay. For a moment, at least, before I retire to my bedchambers. It has been a long time since the fireplace has been lit in this room. It does not completely chase out the gloom or draw attention away from the dust lining the shelves, but it is nice to see. Tell me, have you been settling in all right? Yes, the summer sun must feel quite distant to you now. I imagine you will need a more extended adjustment period for the temperature, even with a new wardrobe. On this topic, I have something to say. My advisor has told me in the past that I must be firm in every action I undertake, that to waver is to show weakness. She is correct, but I cannot find it within myself to carry on such an unaffected air. Not about this, not around my bride-to-be. All this to say, I never told you how deeply apologetic I am for my behavior during our first meeting. I should not have touched you in the manner in which I did. No, you need not protest for my benefit, not when we both know better. You say you were a willing participant, but the fact of the matter is that you should never have been in that position to begin with, not then. It was selfish of me, and wishful. I had not been aware until the moment I touched you of the extent of which I yearned for the type of warmth you provided. That warmth, it was all I could feel, and it wasn't about you specifically, it was about needing to. I lacked self-control. It was unqueenly of me to give in to my more base desires. And while it is true that I have been largely indisposed of late, it would be a lie if I were to say I didn't entirely keep you at arm's length due to my utmost shame. I hope you will allow me to make up for my folly. Your silence is only fair. To spring something like this on you, you need not reply to me with any haste. And if you choose not to forgive, then that is understandable. I hope you have been receiving my flowers. They are snowbriars, an unassuming genus with a careful defense of thorns that may prick you if you aren't cautious. But their icy blossoms are resilient and quietly beautiful, as I hope our marriage may also be, if you'll do me the great honor of forgiving my trespasses in light of our union's fast approach. You speak at last. You think by that description you would compare a snowbriar to myself. I apologize if I have thorns. I did not always carry myself in this manner. It is caused by necessity over nature. You believe there is nothing to forgive. That is not... But you will forgive me anyway and hope that I forgive myself. If anyone else said such a thing to me, I would deem them impertinent and deserving of my ire. No one else would dare. Well, you should fear me, the irredeemable villain. Everyone else does, and perhaps they are right to do so. If I were so irredeemable, I wouldn't be remorseful over what transpired with us. Oh, Princess of Summer, would that I could have your ability to see good where none exists. You must find my demeanor to be quite incongruous. Well, my advisor tells me that there are certain facets of our realm's current predicament that no one must ever be privy to. I see the wisdom in her words and agree with her logic. But as a sign of good faith, I would like to offer you the chance to ask me your questions. I will not divert the topic and will answer honestly, even if there are some things I will not be able to go fully into. Come, I know you are bursting with queries. I can see it on your face, clear as day, your curiosity, and I may not be so forthcoming on the morrow. All right, you may begin when you are ready. I should have expected this to be your first question. I have made my animosity known for the Spring Realm in direct response to their actions. That is all. They thought to secretly usurp me. Despite their failure to do so, such a move was by all rights a declaration of war. They have fed the summer and autumn lies, insisting I initiated this war with no rhyme or reason. They know what they did, and winter, too, knows the truth. I simply replied in kind, bringing my grievance against them to light instead of resorting to their underhanded scheming. I have no interest in beating around the bush. Whether or not they continually play at ignorance to their crimes is not my concern. What did they do? What didn't they do? They betrayed me. I welcomed their people into my realm with open arms. In return, they devised a ploy to get close to me, whereupon I was to be killed in cold blood when my guard was down. Afterwards, they intended to seize control of the Winter Realm in the ensuing chaos. Their plans have since been confirmed in writing, letters uncovered once their plot became known. The means in which they attempted this was via someone of no great importance, a being that no one would ever miss should things go awry. Someone who knew how to play their games, who cared only for the coin they were most undoubtedly offering in exchange. I should have known better. In retrospect, all the signs were there, and my advisor had warned me of her suspicions as well. But I was naive and lulled into a false sense of security by a truly gifted actor. That person is no longer with us. That is all you need to know. What is in the eastern wing? Ghosts. No need to look so concerned. I do not mean ghosts in the manner of specters. That wing is to be renovated soon. For now, much of it is falling apart and remains untouched, aside from my advisor's quarters. She tells me that I must actively choose to not dwell on the past if I mean to look ahead to the future. As always, she proves the worth of her counsel. The memories in that portion of the castle, they are not conducive to my current endeavors. You may not have seen my dear advisor, but she is around and almost certainly has seen you. She performed quite the background check on you before you were allowed to come here to ensure my well-being. Unnecessarily protective of her, but I cannot find it in me to be indignant after all she has done for my family and I. Sorcerers are a fickle breed. Perhaps you will meet her if she is inclined to grace you with her presence. Is there nothing that can stop me from... My mind was made up in regard to the spring long before you arrived here. I admit I am curious as to why an unaffected summer princess is so keen on avoiding a war with spring. Why do you ask this? Concern for the safety of your intended. I have spoken to you candidly thus far and would appreciate similar honesty in return, fiancé. You have an aunt in the spring court. I see. I understand you wish for her safety. I will do what I can for your benefit, but I unfortunately can make no promises, as this would largely depend on the cooperation of Spring's leader. He has been stubborn. Regardless, I will not change course for anything, not even you. If they are unwilling to admit their guilt, they will answer for their deeds on the battlefield. You have gone quiet. Are those all your queries? Very well. Ask your last question then. How do I perceive you? Truthfully, I admire you. Not just due to your appearance, although you are vibrant and lovely. I admire your bravery to be in an unfamiliar land and still hold your head high. I admire your cleverness. I thought those of the summer court to be vapid and obsessed with matters of a superficial nature, but you speak with intelligence and empathy, and I admire your kindness. I have seen you from my window on the grounds, lending a helping hand to my servants playing with their children. They no longer laugh openly around me, and I admit I have not wished to hear their merriment. But something about you. You are like a living sun, bringing warmth in everywhere you go. And as much as I wish I could turn my face away, it is impossible not to see your effect on others, on me. Perhaps when this war is behind us, you will be just what this realm needs. You give me too much credit, Princess, for all the spring's actions. They showed me the darkness inside myself. And that darkness is not something I can either forget or forgive. All that's left to do is embrace my true nature. What did you say? Being broken doesn't make one blaming myself. You speak as though you know what I have been through. You do not understand. Why do you approach me? Your hand is so soft on my cheek, your breath warm on my ear. Yes, I have thought about you too. You have? You mean when you lie in your chambers at night, you have mulled over what happened with us while touching? No, This does not displease me. Far from it. But I don't understand why you still want me this way. Beyond just your duty. You should be repulsed. You should fear me, loathe me. But instead you feel empathy for me and desire. You purport to understand me, but I do not understand you at all, Princess. You want to return the favor of my warming you. Here, now, are you quite sure? I don't. Oh, we should wait for our wedding night. But gods, you are stoking a fire inside me that I have not felt for some time. If this is really something you want to do, gods help me, but I cannot say no. Every time I look at you, I crave you, even though I fight against my base nature for the sake of decorum. Is that a phrase from the summer realm? You think we are in the same boat? I understand what you mean. We make quite a pair, don't we? Fine then, Princess. My desire clouds my judgment, I know, but nonetheless, you win. Come here, and have the sinner repent at the altar of your body.